Wadara concepts. Wadara concept is an academic and training firm. So we want to talk about human resource development in education. Human capital. Human capital development in education. In other words, when we're talking about human resource, majorly it's synonymous with the human person. Human person, and education also is towing the same path. So the function of human resource development is to improve performance and ability. So the function of this is to improve the human performance, human capital performance, and the ability. Wherever we find the human person, the desire to thrive in whatever we do, and ability become paramount. Hence the importance of E to education. So we're making progress. It says the framework. It is the framework for helping employees develop their skills, knowledge, and abilities, which in turn improve an organization on the strength of education. How do you improve one's skills, knowledge, and ability? It is through the process of learning, acquiring new skills, which along the line we'll get to see when we talk about the formal and informal education. So education now is the act or process of imparting and acquiring particular knowledge or skill as a profession. With this definition, it is seeing the human resource capital and education are natural corollaries. They are natural corollary. No, there is no way you find the human person which is dynamic in nature without seeing in them the quest to acquire knowledge, to be better in whatever they do, which is where education seems to dwell so much. Because from the definition of education which we have given here as the heart or process of imparting and acquiring particular knowledge or skill of a particular profession, which could be in medicine, which could be lawyer, which could be engineering, which could be lecturing, and the like. So when we consider, therefore, when we consider the various kinds of educational planning, from education we are moving to educational planning. Educational planning, which are in use today, we can distinguish three main types. The first is planning with adequate facts, backed by rather voluminous statistics with data. When we are planning, you plan with data, like a company planning for a manpower demand for a particular period of time or a financial year. It will depend on your availability of accurate, reliable, accurate data to come out with a meaningful projection. This type, let's make a progress. This type is certainly the most desirable, but it is one of the least likely to be carried out into effect simply because it practices the necessary facts and statistical data are seldom available. So the setback of this process is lack of readily available data. The second type can perhaps best be defined by the lead title of a book by Wolfgang, who spent 2 years drawing up the development plan for the Federation of Nigeria, which is the country under consideration here. His book is called Planning Without Facts, a very realistic title because it corresponds to a very realistic type of planning. Your planning must be realistic, achievable, must not be too ambiguous. It must be within the confines of what you set to achieve, which must be very realistic. In many cases, it is simply because impossible to ascertain all the facts ideally necessary for perfect planning. At the meeting of Inter-America Regional Projects in Memco City in October 1963, Pitambar Pan of Indian termed the third type as planning without purpose or planning for the sake of just planning, no aim. And the outcome of this could be very disastrous. So unfortunately, there is a good idea of such planning going on today, particularly the kind that makes use of the most questionable techniques of highly theoretical mathematical models and in which the basic objective get lost in display of methodological fireworks. But without planning, but whatever planning is used, whether it be with or without facts, the importance of strategy building is fundamental to the process. In the context of educational planning, this involves the setting of targets, this means not projection, and most it is widely accepted that no educational policy in its totality can ever expect to rise above the quality of its teacher at all levels. Education involves communication, either formal or informal. So no educational system could perform beyond its teachers, because the level of reality of the teacher will determine what the teacher would teach. So the quality of the teachers will determine the quality of whatever is being taught. Therefore, the need for teachers to continually improve their knowledge, skill, and ability on the job. It is a continuous exercise in order to deliver optimum performance in the area of teaching, impacting knowledge. Impacting knowledge. The human resources needed to achieve the goal of national policy on education deserve closer attention. Teachers are the key drivers of education activities, so they must be committed. Commitment means genuine interest, which culminates job satisfaction. The environment must be conducive for teachers and students alike to enable teaching and assimilation on the part of students. If we are to attain job satisfaction, and also the level of pay they get must commensurate with what the effort they are putting into, because this area of this profession is very sensitive. Teaching, a teacher, like we said in the preceding slide, that the quality of teacher determines the quality of education the pupils, students we get. And you wouldn't want a teacher that is disgruntled on the job, not satisfied on the job. A teacher that is not satisfied on the job, the results of that will be felt more on the students, the part of the students. And on a larger scale, the society and the economy would be adversely impacted. the present situation of irregular payment of salaries in some states of the Nigerian Federation, where teachers and learning facilities are lacking with frequent strikes, lockouts, strike on the side of the employee, lockout on the side of employer, seems to have contributed in no small measure to lowering the standard of education. Just like we've said, if a teacher is not satisfied on the job, the ability of that teacher to impart knowledge has been gravely affected, because such would not be at his or her best impacting, transferring knowledge, as it were, which in Nigeria we've seen. Presently, ASU is on strike. Academic Staff Union of Universities, they are on strike. Why? Because of the MOU, the claim the federal government signed with the union 2009, I beg your pardon. And now the payment platform for their salary is another point under contention. The federal government is proposing a unified integrated payment system, but the ASU seems not to be at home with this. ASU is proposing its own. I will leave that submission for another day, because I personally have my view as a professional human resource personnel in the area of remuneration of employees by his employer. Wadara concepts. So even in Federal College, despite the seemingly superior inputs in human and material resources, educational standards are increasingly falling. This is according to Nwabuezi 1995. The reality is that teachers at all levels have one leg in school and another outside in search for better opportunities to meet their socio-economic needs. The human wants, remember, the human wants human needs is insatiable. So if a teacher is not satisfied as a result of financial remuneration, the tendency for the teacher to be disgruntled on the job is high, and the tendency that they would seek alternative means of patching, augmenting their finances is high, leaving the students at the receiving end. There is therefore, I beg your pardon, an urgent need to boost the morale of teachers through prompt payments of salaries, salary increments as are when due, equipping the laboratories, providing necessary amenities for research and psychological orientation for an improved value system that will enhance academic work. This will reposition our educational system for sustainable national development. Finances, tools they must need to deliver, they require rather, they must use, they need to deliver. Because for you to have an engaged personnel, the employer must be able to provide tools for the employee to work in order to deliver their best. Good working environment, reward them, train them for them to give the best. Same is applicable to teachers. Teachers need to go for training and retraining as well. And the government should focus more on this in order for us to, the country, to have a better educational system. As we have seen, that wherever we find the people, there is always need for them to improve their skills, knowledge, and ability. Same is applicable in the academic balance. Academic balance, where people are the movers of whatever takes place in such environments, be it the teachers, be it the students. It's made up of people. Hence the need for the objective of their coming together to be sustained and better managed by the employer, who in this sense is the government, because we are talking about public institutions, in Nigeria. Thank you. In our next episode, we'll be talking about more an area we consider more, topical, which could be an offshoot of this presentation. Thank you.